Hi there, friends. Jen Neesett here, one half of Team Neesett, and I am ready to share my part 2, Following a Plan, my Road to Boston series that I'm bringing you guys. Now, I know it's taken me a little time to get this to you, but maybe you can relate. If you've ever run a marathon or worked really hard for a goal and you've been on a high, then what happens is eventually you crash. And that's a little bit of what happened to me earlier in the week. And that, along with being a mom and 4 kiddos and working, like, this is the first time that I felt like I could sit down and, overcoming a little internet difficulties, bring you my part 2 series. Now today we're talking about following a plan, but first, I know the main question you guys want to know is, do I know yet? So the answer is no. You know, I qualified by 4 minutes and 28 seconds, and I registered on Friday. But Boston has a big job ahead of them. They have to verify all of the entries that come in, and they only take the fastest times. And so we are hearing that it's still going to be a little while before we officially hear whether or not we've been accepted. And so rest assured that as soon as I know, you guys are going to know. So hi guys, Alexandria, Danny, and Gina. Hi friends. Say hi if you log on. I'm sharing today my plan that I followed as I trained for my Boston qualifying marathon. So many of you guys know that I also am a health and fitness coach along with the other half of Team Neesett, Coach Craig. And we talk a lot in our groups and to our challengers about planning and how important it is to have a plan. In fact, yesterday on my wellness page, I asked the question, you know, when do you plan? When do you plan your meals? When do you plan your workouts? Because what we know is if you don't plan it, if it's not written down, if you don't have a plan in place, then you're setting yourself up for failure. That's important for all major things that you want to work on in your life. Speaking of Coach Craig, he's in the house. It's super important to have a plan in place when you are going to do something like train for a marathon. So my first question I have for you guys, whether or not you're watching it live or on a replay, is number 1, when you train for a big race like this, do you follow a plan? Yes or no? Leave your comment below. Number 2 is what is the plan that you like to follow? So whose plans do you enjoy? Do you like Hal Higdon has some good running plans, or Run Less, Run Faster, which is a bit of what I used for this plan, a little modified. Or is there another one maybe I haven't mentioned? So who do you follow when you're training for a big race? It could be a 5K, it could be a 10K, a half marathon, or a full marathon. When you're training as a runner, do you follow a plan? Number 1, yes or no. Number 2, what plan do you like? And then number 3, do you have a coach? Or do you go it alone? So hi Michael, we have a lot of running friends joining. Be sure to share this with your friends. We're talking about the plan. So thank you guys for bearing with me. I'm going to share with you some of the specifics of the plan that I have followed. Now I want to just make a clarifying statement that a running plan is unique to every individual. That's why the help of a coach is so valuable, because depending on how experienced you are as a runner, you may not know the smartest ways to train for your body. I'm trying to tell you, even as a PT, it has taken me a lot of years to figure out what I am able to do safely without injury, and to get the right balance. It's like a recipe. For me, finding the right marathon training plan has been like a recipe. And I'm going to share with you the pieces that worked for me. Doesn't mean that it will work for everybody. Myself personally, I'm not a high mileage runner. My body breaks down. In fact, the highest mileage week I had was 38 miles. That was about in the middle of towards the end of the 3rd month. So that being said, I know runners who can run well over 50 miles, 40 to 50, 60 miles a week, and their body does great. So you have to find the balance for yourself. And sometimes, actually, unfortunately, injury is how you find out if you've done too much. So here is my plan. My plan, yeah, it was a low mileage plan, Michael, but that's what I have to do to stay healthy. And I was still able to be effective in my time. So I'll share a little bit about that. Michael, make sure you comment. I was asking people if you follow a plan when you're training, yes or no, what plans you like by their name in the comments below, and number 3, if you've ever used a coach. Okay, so here was my plan. I like the concept of run less, run faster. That is the theoretical model around which my plan was based, but it was modified and individualized by my coach, who was also my husband, based on what I felt like I could do at the time. So a typical run less, run faster plan is 3 runs, 2 cross training days, I think that's it, and 2 rest days. 3, that doesn't, and 1 rest day. My math isn't good. But I was at a fitness level, used to exercising 6 days a week at this point, not always running, but I felt like I could follow a 6-day-a-week plan with 1 day off. So my plan was 4 runs, all of them had a goal, 2 days on my bike, which I have on a trainer in my garage. It's a road bike on a trainer, and I had very specific bike workouts, and 1 rest day. In between there, I sprinkled in some other things I'll talk about. So 4 runs. These 4 runs all had a purpose. They were pace specific, specified. So the very first thing that we had to do is I needed to run a 5K. You could run any kind of any distance of a race, but you run a race to see what level you're at. And hopefully that's going to calculate to your predicted marathon pace, which mine did. So my predicted marathon pace that I needed a 3:45, I wanted a 3:40, and then what I didn't realize till the end was Coach was training me a little bit at the 3:35 level, which is why sometimes those intervals were hard to meet. So you have a chart that is very specific that my coach helped figure out my times, and it was my predicted marathon pace that was used to calculate the times that I needed to run my 4 specific runs at. The first run of the week I did on Tuesday. That was my interval training day. That involved a warm-up of about 15 minutes with some dynamic stretching. It involved specific interval training that I did on a track, anywhere from 1,600 meter repeats to thousands to 800s to ladders in between to 400s at the end, with a cool down and static stretching after. The next day, so that was Tuesday. Tuesday was track day. Wednesday was a bike day. The bikes ranged anywhere from 30 minutes at the beginning up to 45 minutes at the end, and they were not steady state biking. They were sort of tempo style or intervals on the bike with specific times that I had to hit and follow. Wednesday was my tempo day. The tempos, again, were usually a mile or 2 warm up, with the middle miles being at a very specific targeted, harder to reach pace, and then a mile cool down. Those ranged anywhere from 6 miles all the way up to 12 miles. That was the longest tempo. I had 12-mile tempo. Yikes, that was not easy. So that was Tuesday, Wednesday. That was Wednesday. Thursday, I got on the bike again, and it was another 30 to 45-minute bike ride, again with some different speed intervals, in between. On Friday, am I saying this right? Tuesday was interval day. Wednesday was on the bike. Thursday was my tempo. Friday I ran I feel like I got this wrong. Tuesday was my track workout. Wednesday was a biking day. Thursday was my tempo. Friday I got back on the bike again. See, I'm looking at my plan, but I switched things around. Friday I got back on the bike again usually and did my second bike workout then. Saturday was consistently every single week 4 miles at a faster than marathon pace, and that was the extra that I added that's unique from the Run Less, Run Faster plan. Sunday was my long day. It began as low as 7 miles at the beginning, worked all the way up to 20, which I did 3 times. All of my long runs were slower than predicted marathon pace, with the exception of the last few weeks. I actually hit the marathon pace once, or was faster than the marathon pace for those slower miles. And so that is the running part of it. Running 3 days a week, biking 2 days a week, running 4 days a week, biking 2 days a week, 1 day a week off. I also added stretching like yoga or Pilates at least once a week. I would even do shorter 10-minute yoga sessions several times a week, but a specific like yoga for runners or yoga for cyclists or yoga for athletes or a Pilates workout once a week. I don't do a lot of strength training when I'm training for a marathon. I might do push-ups or squats or lunges, but the majority of my strength training occurs when I'm not training for my specific, for a specific race. So that was my plan in a nutshell. Some things that were important for me to incorporate were making sure my nutrition was on point, eating clean, whole foods, eating carbohydrates that are a slower, lower sugar impact, and making sure I got enough of them, ramping them up just slightly the last few days before my race to make sure I had enough glycogen stores. Getting enough sleep was a challenge for me, but I made sure at least the last week or so before that I did that. And the other piece that I wanted to bring up is really the importance of putting your blinders on. I know, especially in the running community, many of us are social runners, and it's easy to get excited and to want to run all of the races that are put on for the camaraderie and the friendship and the medals and all of that goes along with it. But what I will tell you is, while I'm working on something specific like this, I don't do any other races. With the exception of, I think, once I did the 20-mile drop because it fell in the middle of my, perfectly spaced in my training so that I could use it as a training run. But I think it's real easy to actually over race when you're training, especially if you have something so important as a qualifying race in your mind. That's my own personal opinion. It is not doesn't publicly held maybe, but I didn't race at all in these 16 weeks that I was training for my marathon. There you go. There is my plan in a nutshell. I hope you found it helpful and valuable. If you did, share it with your running friends. I just want to give a little shout out for my husband and coach, Craig, because without his plan, without his support, without his teamwork, I never could have done this. If you are a runner who's never worked with a running coach, I highly recommend you even reach out to us or another running coach, just to have somebody in your corner who's knowledgeable and educated and who can craft a specific plan for you, someone to help you through the 16 weeks, because things are going to happen and you're going to need to tweak and course correct a little bit, and just to have that accountability. And so we'd be more than happy to chat with you about some running coaching help. And the last thing that I want to do, I love you too, babe, is I just want to do a huge shout out for one of the other ladies that Craig has coached the last 16 weeks, is Megan Gobriel, and she is running her very first marathon tomorrow at Akron. It is supposed to be quite warm for a September marathon, and I know that a lot of people running are nervous about that, but if you guys would just help me by giving Megan huge emoji love in the comments, wish her a lot of luck. Good luck, Megan. We'll be following your tracking. Her and I had a nice chat a little while ago, a little pep talk. You can do this. Enjoy the ride. Enjoy the journey. Help me by showering Megan with some good luck by putting some good luck emojis in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. Part 3 that I will bring you guys next will be how to come down from the high of a marathon and what you do to recover in the weeks after coming down from a Boston qualifying marathon. All right, thanks you guys so much for watching. Well, until next time, happy Friday.